I started out as a graphic designer and did that for many years. And then I became a stay-at-home mom and still needed a way to be creative. I used photography as a way to document my kids' experience of COVID and the pandemic and being together all the time. And in that, I was hoping to try to find ways to still do photography, but also hands-on. When I learned it in college, we still had dark rooms and film and processing, and that's just not available anymore. So I found my way into experimental photography and alternative processes. So using a lot of instant film, vintage cameras, UV sensitive papers, manipulation techniques, things like that. I've always felt a deep connection to nature. Even as a kid, I spent many, many hours outdoors playing. And it's always been a way for me to calm down, reconnect, kind of de-stress. And doing the lumen prints with nature is kind of my way of honoring that relationship. And I feel like the prints themselves are like exposing the energy and the spirit of nature. A lot of that work relies on the weather and the plant materials. So if it's hot, if it's cold, if it's humid, how many hours of sunlight, the temperature, if the plants are fresh or dried, all of those things create different effects on the prints. And so I think of us as collaborators together. I kind of assemble everything and then nature does the rest. I try to compose depending on what kind of I'm feeling from the plants or what type of concept I'm trying to put together. I'll put the plants together on top of the paper. Sometimes I'll add maybe water or vinegar or something because I can get different effects. And then I put a piece of plexiglass over top and I clamp them together. And then I place them outside. And depending on the weather, if it's a hot, sunny day, the print could take about an hour. But if it's winter and cold, that's the opposite extreme. That could take 2 to 3 days that I will leave it outside. And then I bring them in, back into my dimmed basement, and I take it all apart. I gotta be careful not to tear the paper. So you can see here, it created this circular kind of shadow. And these, on this paper, the lilies look almost like ghosts' petals. As kind of a final support to nature, I actually don't use chemicals to process the prints like you would in traditional darkroom practice. I scan them instead on my scanner, and then my digital file becomes my final original. Sometimes if there's a piece of dirt or mulch or a bug, or maybe there was a bug on the leaf that I didn't notice and creates a empty spot, then I'll fix it at this point. Or sometimes the plant materials dry and almost adhere to the paper, so I can't get them off without tearing the paper. This is where I fix those little, I don't want to call them imperfections, but and then if I want to do any color adjusting, if I want the colors more saturated or less saturated, I try to stay as true to the original. There are some instances where I have completely changed the coloring. For example, the ones that I've left out in the snow, those tend to have a blue tint because I want to honor the fact that it was winter when I made them. I heard about ArtSpot from an art friend of mine, and the focus was to bring attention to the fact that while climate change and global warming feel like really big topics for people, and you think, I don't know where to begin, like that's too big of a topic for me to tackle. My idea was you could do something as simple as create a pollinator garden in your yard, even if you have just a few feet of square space. My display is called The Pollinators, and it's named that because I've used native Ohio plants and then also other plants that are known to attract the bees, the butterflies, the moths, and use those to make my prints, along with like a circular shape, which is supposed to represent earth, sun, cycles of nature. I most often will go to one of the city parks, but I like to find the areas of the park that are more wild and less taken care of and manicured, because I want to get a more like authentic nature experience. And I also have been known to pull over the side of the road and walk under a bridge to look at a stream or a creek and see what's under there and what plants are under there. I do a lot of experimenting. I use an app on my phone when I'm out foraging for plants to help me identify the plants, especially if I'm looking for native plants or invasive plants. I want to know what I'm collecting. And then also if I use them for a print, I want to be able to, I always write what plants I've used so that way I can keep it for my own information. So it says those are possibly fig buttercup. It all started because I cared about the planet, was trying to live more sustainable, which then led to me wanting to be outdoors, which then led to me wanting to make sure I had the right plants in my yard, which then led to me seeking out what are those plants, and then finding out that some of those things are endangered, or the bees. And so I thought, how can I get this message out through my art? Also, yeah, I do have to consider where I'm sourcing my materials. That's why I've consciously made the choice to have a lot of pollinator plants in my yard, because that is at my disposal. I can do whatever I want with those. When I'm foraging like this out in the wild, I try to minimize my impact. So if it is a piece of bark on the ground, I'm gonna take it. Yes, I did trim some flowers today, but in my mind, the message I'm trying to get out and the impact I'm hoping to make is gonna be worth the risk that I might be taking.